The next episode of The Commercial Break starts now.
Thank you, Nicky, for being here with us today. We really appreciate your time.
Hi.
Very grateful.
Hi. How y'all doing?
We're doing good. I'm very grateful to have you here because I think I will now have insta respect in the family gatherings with the Venezuelan.
Oh, yeah. This is going to give you cred for years.
My brothers-in-law are absolutely in love with everything Nicky Jam, and they couldn't be more excited that you're joining us. And I can't either because I've done a lot of homework on you, and I find you to be a very interesting and self-aware human being, which sometimes when you think of somebody that kind of has a level of success and a level of fame, you might, at least the stereotype might be that they're so disconnected from the audience or people, real people, that you don't believe they might be that self-aware. But I dug in. I listened, I read, I watched. You're a very humble and aware guy. And I think that only comes from struggle. And I know you've had some.
Yeah, a lot. I mean, I'm very humble because of my dad. My dad is a very humble guy. He's always been, and he's, I've always saw that as something that I wanted to be just like my dad. And he was always the type of guy that he would like stop doing anything to help anybody else or give a little that he had to other people. So I appreciate that from my dad, and I learned that from my dad, and it made me be a very humble human being, but that's just part of me. You know what I'm saying? You can't really learn to be humble. It's just what you are. If you're humble, you're humble. If you're not, you're not.
Yeah.
But is when somebody admires a humble person, that means that you're humble. That's what I think. I mean, if you admire somebody that's cocky and it's a jerk, I don't know what kind of, you can still use that word.
Sure,
but,
absolutely. We use it all the time.
Yeah. Well, if you admire people like that, well, that's what you are. So I admire humble people, and that's what I am. And I just like to be that kid that everybody likes. I like to be the soul of the party. I like to be the guy that makes everybody laugh. I like to be that person that when people see me feels a good energy. So that's just me, the way I am. And it didn't matter in any situation that I was, even if when I was in drugs or I was in jail or I was in the World Cup singing Will Smith, doing a movie with Vin Diesel. It didn't matter in any of those situations. I was always the same guy. I would drink a Coca-Cola sitting down on the floor, and I also could eat lobster at the finest restaurant. I don't care about anything. I just like enjoying life, and life is too short to be an asshole.
Yeah, hey, man, I totally agree with you. And I tell my kids this all the time. There is plenty of, I don't say this word, but there's plenty of shit in this world. We need more shine, right? So, and I think,
100%.
And I think you're right about something, and I never thought about it this way, is that like attracts like. Mm-hmm. So if you are a humble person, you admire humble people. I admire what I've heard from you specifically and read from you, because I think you're also not afraid to share the struggle, which is also something that I think for men, for maybe the men in my family specifically, like it's hard to share the struggle because they see that as weakness, where I think when I hear it from you, it's a strength. That is a strength, that you're able to share that struggle.
Because you've learned from it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had a lot on my shoulders, and I needed to, get it off. And I'm still gonna have all these problems from the past. They catch up sometimes. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not a perfect person. I'm a human being. I have my days where I just, my past catches up with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But doing the series and showing my life helped me a lot. It was very good for me. And at the same time, I'm always thinking people were always misunderstood in a way. I don't know if you can relate to that.
Totally.
Some people think that they know about you, but they don't really know about you. They don't know who you are, where you came from, and what you represent. And this series shows the people that I'm not the superstar with the Lamborghini and the planes and all this stuff. I'm not only that. I have that. I'm grateful for it. I worked for it. But I came from nothing. I came from starving. I came from, being waiting in the back of Dunkin' Donuts so they could throw away the donuts they ain't selling anymore, so I could take to my sister so she could eat.
Wow.
Came from, packing groceries so I could, make $20 a day and, buy cigarettes and milk and bread and ham and cheese so we could eat at the house. I come from nothing, and I come from, a house where my dad was a drug addict, my mom was a drug addict, and the whole environment where I was living in Lawrence, Massachusetts, everybody there was on drugs because it was the crack era. Oh. And the crack era really messed up the city.
Early 90s? Was this early 90s?
It was early 90s, late 80s.
Yeah.
Late 80s, yeah. And it was ugly. It was like living in the street with a whole bunch of zombies. And in my house, I had 2 zombies. So imagine that.
I can't. And I think that's part of... when you share your story, when I heard you share your story as I'm doing my research, I think that's the part, like you just said, is people think they know you, right? Even if you share your entire story, it's still your perspective. It's still unique to you. And so the person you are is like a fabric of all of those different experiences that you've had. And no one can ever do that again. It's not repeatable, right? I mean, it's just one of those things that becomes you. And I think it's so... telling that you're so open about all of this. Your mom and dad were drug addicts, and then you moved to Puerto Rico. Like, take it back a little bit. You moved to Puerto Rico when you were 10, 11 years old. Is that right?
Yeah, I moved to Puerto Rico when I was 10 because my dad, he caught a case. They caught him with I think it was like 20 kilos of cocaine. It was an undercover cop that was with us, like family. And he was dealing, and they caught him, and then he posted bail, and he was supposed to go back on trial. So he knew that my mom wasn't in a good situation, being in drugs and everything. And he said, if I go to jail, who's gonna take care of my kids? Yeah. So my dad just, in those days, the TSA situation wasn't so strict. So you couldn't travel to Puerto Rico with no problem. So my dad traveled to Puerto Rico with us, to escape this situation that he had, so he could be with us and, be a father and take it. And I'm very grateful for that because he did stop doing drugs and he become the dad that I needed, and especially in that situation. So,
that's a hero move, bro.
Oh, 100%.
That's a hero move. Yeah.
And he stayed with us, and he did what he could do, and that's why we lived to Puerto Rico. And I'm very grateful because thanks to living in Puerto Rico, I learned about this, reggae music and all these Caribbean sounds that made me fall in love with it, and that's my story with Puerto Rico.
Yeah. You, for those that don't know in our audience, you've described that you get found because you're bagging groceries at a grocery store and you're rapping and you're just kind of doing your thing. You're freestyling. I
love that story.
That's incredible, right? He's freestyling.
Yeah, I used to freestyle with the groceries that I had. You know what I'm saying? So,
were you talking about the chicken and the milk?
Yeah, the tomatoes and the things.
Yeah, this is Nicky Jam. I don't play though, but we got the sauce with the tomatoes. I would just freestyle about the food, and I came like a small celebrity. It's like, yo, you heard this kid that he be rapping about the food and everything that he's packing, and everybody would love to go into my aisle because they wanted to listen to me rapping. In those days, rap was something new in Puerto Rico, and especially see a kid so young to rap. So this lady came to me and she was like, I wasn't feeling like rapping that day. So I was just packing my groceries. And she's like, so you're not going to rap for me? And I'm like, if you give me the right tip, I'll probably do it. So I rapped.
Yeah.
And she liked what I did. And then from that came to just...
like a series of coincidences that ended up with you in the studio.
She said she wanted to sign me.
Jesus.
And because she said she wanted to sign me, she told me she wanted me to get in the car with her. I'm like, hell no.
I'm 12. Weren't you 12 or something?
But even though if I was 12, I had street smart.
Of course.
Yeah.
I want no car with you. I'm from the hood. I know not to get in the cars. But she was like, no, my husband, he's a producer from MP Records. In those days, that was like a big record label in Puerto Rico, and I got in a car and I went with her, and I rapped for her husband, and they went home that same day. And they bring me like a huge ass contract like this.
Whoa.
My dad, you know, my dad's from the hood too. He's like, he don't even know how to read none of that shit. He was like, and I did that. You don't got to read. She just signed that shit. Bro.
Sign it. I'm ready.
Fuck that. Just
Are they
sign
giving us
it.
money? Sign the contract, right?
My dad just signed that shit. No, they ain't give me no money in those days.
Yeah.
You know how it is, man.
Yeah.
You know, when you sign in, today they'll give you money if you already have a platform. You know what I'm saying? Like
Sure.
today you have Instagram and all that, and today you can make like people want you already. So when you go to a label, you could be more like yeah, well, I already have followers.
Yeah.
Like, what could you do that I can't do for myself? But those days you needed the record label like 100%. So there was no platform, so they didn't give me no money, but. They fucked me in that contract anyways. I didn't do shit. I didn't make no money. But I'm sorry if I cursed. I don't know.
No, you can
No, it's
curse.
fine.
No,
Yeah,
please.
we're
Half the
good.
show is cursing. Feel
Yeah.
free.
Yeah.
Let it fly.
Yeah, they fucked me in that contract. But what helped me was the album did not sell, because how creative could you be when you're 12 years old when it comes to an album? You know, like
Right.
you have no minds for it. But the good thing that happened was the street DJs was listening to my music and they liked it. And the street DJs was the one that were taking over. They was doing these things where there was like these mixtapes where they put like 50 singers from Puerto Rico, and everybody would like drop like a verse.
Yeah.
And they would become famous. So I was like the youngest kid on that on those mixtapes, and I became famous. I became a celebrity just because of the mixtapes. So the album didn't do good, but the mixtapes took me to this underground world where I became one of the architects of reggaeton music.
You sure did. You're like one of the godfathers of reggaeton. Okay, so fast forward. I'm not trying to date you, man. I'm just saying.
You know,
Well, you come to me on the commercial break and you tell me your age.
you come to my wedding.
I see your Grammy and I
You have
see
to
you
do
a
it.
bottle of Gatorade.
You have to go like, you come to my wedding.
That's a good one.
That's actually pretty good.
I know. That's
He's got
a great
the cheeks
Marlon.
and everything.
Marlon
Yeah.
Brando.
And you don't respect me.
By the way, people ask me what my favorite Christmas movie is of all time. I say The Godfather 1 and 2. I don't
Is that
know
a
why.
Christmas movie?
It's not, but all of a sudden they started showing it in the States.
Oh,
They
during
show it,
Christmas?
yeah, like 24-hour marathon. So now, my kids are watching whatever, The Grinch, and I'm like, I'll be in here watching The Godfather.
That's like asking you what's your favorite Christmas movie. You're saying Halloween 1 or
Yeah.
So fast forward a little bit. So you have the kind of this like huge explosion of popularity when you're in Puerto Rico in this like early part of your career, but then you admittedly say at some point, and I'm quoting you here, I feel like an embarrassment of the reggaeton industry at some point because I just kind of fall off the platform. Tell me about that, like 2007, 2008.
Well, that's very fast forward. I mean, obviously, I had a huge career before that, and then of course, I mean, I was a young kid, so I did a lot of bad things. You know what I'm saying? And I was a rebel. I didn't have my mom, so in my mentality, my mom, she left me. So in those days, I didn't care about living. Like I didn't give a fuck about living. Like, I would do anything. I was in the hood with the kids. I would like run around. Like I was literally like doing anything in the streets that you shouldn't do. And Daddy Yankee wasn't a part of that because I was with him. We was like
yeah,
this.
You guys were together, yeah.
But he was like trying to he's like he had kids. He was way more mature than me, and he already had a focus. I like the whole street thing. And the reason why we got into the street thing is because, I was raised in the streets anyways, but it's because this guy wanted to kill us. And you can see that on the series, you know what I'm saying? This guy wanted to kill us. And because this guy wanted to kill us, we had to run to New York. And then we went to New York. And one day I tell Yankee, like, yo, Yankee, we've been having people trying to kill us our whole life in Puerto Rico. Like, that's normal in Puerto Rico because we're from the hood. When you from the hood, that's not a new thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not normal in normal environment, but we're not from normal environment. We're from the hood. It's like you could say we're from the projects in Puerto Rico, the caserío. So I'm telling them, bro, we've been through this shit, and we're not gonna hide here in New York. Let's get 2 straps each other. Let's go to Puerto Rico, and let's keep doing music. And if somebody comes through, we ready.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he's like, fuck it, let's go. So we went to Puerto Rico. We got strapped, and for some reason, this guy, obviously, if you mess around in the streets, you know what's gonna happen. You got two ways: jail or death.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy, you know, he had a lot of problems already, and they killed him.
Ugh.
So just because it made our lives easier because we didn't have to, like, you know,
Stress about it. You didn't have to look behind your shoulder. Yeah.
Stress about it anymore. So Yankee's like, yo, I don't want my gun anymore. I don't need it. And I said, I'll take it. I'm ready. I like the streets. I wanted to keep going in the streets. So that was the beginning of my fuck up. Because instead of going Daddy Yankee's route, he was going to a route where he was like, you know, preparing himself, you know, psychologically, mentally, and physically for his new career, where we was already successful to be bigger and bigger. I was going to self-destruction because I just wanted to be in the streets with the kids, my boys. Because for me, my family was the kids from the hood, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to be that. It went from that to doing drugs and doing more drugs and more doing drugs, and it came to a moment where I wasn't even in the street doing it anymore. I was just a junkie.
Yeah.
And from a junkie, obviously I caught my case. I went to jail for attempted murder and all that. And when I came out, it was even worse. In 2005 and 2006, it was like I was doing more drugs, and people will see me like, you know, like
Tweaked out on the street and
stuff like that, and like they will like get me in a car that I haven't paid like for 7 months, and they're like embarrassments. It was like a whole line of embarrassments that you could only get when you were a junkie. You know?
Can I ask you a question? Yeah. When you were in that period of your life and you and Yankee were together, did Yankee ever like try to get through? Like, hey, you know, we can grow, we can do this, but you got to settle down a little bit.
100? No, we was already successful.
Sure, but
he was looking for more.
Yeah, he wanted to take it to the next level.
He wanted to take it to the next level, but of course, Yankee tried everything in his power to make me be a better person. But when you stubborn and you young and you're a rebel and you don't care and you have that street mentality and you have a whole bunch of street kids next to you giving you the wrong message, there's no way you're gonna listen to just one person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes you just gotta hit bottom.
That's it.
You gotta hit bottom so you can learn, you know, and thank God, and it sounds weird for me to say thank God to hitting rock bottom. I became the human being that I am today, and the superstar that I am today, and everything that I am today.
When you were like addicted to drugs, when you were on the perks and you were doing blow and all this, you at some point get called to Colombia, right? You say, I got to get to Colombia. I'm interested to know what drew you to Colombia, because let's be honest, right? When you think of getting clean off drugs, Colombia maybe isn't the first place you think about. And that's a stereotype, but it's true, right? It's, you know, cocaine capital of the world, and I'm sure that there's a lot of other stuff available there. What draws you to Colombia? What makes you say, hey, I got to get there?
Well, the reality of everything is it wasn't that I went to Colombia because it was something that I thought it was better for me. They just called me for a show.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was broke as fuck. And I remember when they called me, they were like, well, we're calling from Colombia. We want to do a show with Nicky Jam. I'm like, oh, well, let me put my manager through. And I just changed my voice. Like, hold up.
Yeah.
No fucking way.
I love that.
You
so I
faked
act
being
like
your own manager?
Yeah, I was trying to act like I
Yeah.
was important, you know what I'm saying? Because I didn't want, I was embarrassed that I was managing my own self because I didn't have a manager. I was just, nobody wanted to manage me. So I got the show. I remember the guy was like, so we need the 18th. And I'm like, well, let me check if I have the 18th.
Let me check my calendar.
Funny. That's so funny. It's the only day we have free.
Hey, Nicky, can I tell you? When your management calls and says, we got the 10th, I go, tell them, give a minute, and we'll check and see if our calendar's free. Of course we got the 10th free.
Yes, you have to do that.
Yeah, of course.
So when I go to Colombia, I'm weighing like almost 260 pounds.
Wow.
I look horrible. Because the problem with perks is it's the only drug you take and it makes you fatter. It's not like so you're a junkie and you're fat. Because I would have rather been a junkie and skinny.
Yeah.
But the weird thing is, you're a junkie and you fat because perks make you eat.
They make you eat. They're late. It makes you like a little euphoric and lethargic, and it makes you want to eat.
Yeah, it does not give you exactly. It does not give you the typical syndromes of a drug addict. That normally drug addicts are skinny because the drugs they take, like crack, cocaine. Well, I did cocaine, but then perks were like the most that I would take, and all these other drugs will make you skinnier. So I went to Colombia, and there was this show. The show that the 18th show. They took me over there, and I'm over here embarrassed that I didn't even want to go out, because I'm thinking, shit, man. Like, I don't even have a hit song right now. I haven't had a hit song like in years, and all these kids are like young, and they look so good, and they ready, and they got hits.
Yeah.
How the fuck am I gonna go on the stage? Funniest thing in the world is, these kids come out, they do their show, and I'm thinking over here, I'm like, yo, why are you guys saving me for last? I mean, like, you should have put me like first, because these kids are the one popping right now.
They're up and coming. Yeah, they're new. They're fresh. Why are you putting me on? Yeah.
Promoter's like, what are you talking about? Like, you're the biggest star here. I'm like, what do you mean the biggest star, bro? I just came out of jail a couple of years ago. What the fuck are you talking about? It's like, nah, bro, you're a legend here. Like, first of all, when you hit the songs that you hit, you didn't even come here, so people didn't get a chance to see you. So for them, I was like the biggest headline. So when I come out and I feel all that love and people screaming, there was 50,000 people on the stadium. They're like, ah, and I came out and I was singing my songs, and people, it was overwhelming, of course. And in that same week, I did like 9 shows.
Oh,
wow.
In a week?
And I said, well, not stadiums though, but I did like small shows, and I needed the money. So this one trip to Colombia made me like come back and buy me a car. I didn't have a car, and I paid rent for a whole year, and then I had a couple of money inside, and I said, what the fuck am I doing in Puerto Rico? I gotta get the fuck out
to
of here.
Colombia. Yeah.
So that's how it started for me to go to Colombia, because it was working. I was just working, and I still had the perks problem, and the problem is Colombia don't sell perks.
Oh, interesting.
They don't sell perks.
How'd you get it?
Like Colombia, I would have to buy a whole bunch from over here and take it over there.
Yeah.
And it was like the worst thing in the world. So that's when it happens that I go over there and I clean myself. Obviously, I did so much drugs there in the moment in Colombia, because I partied and I did every crazy thing that you would think that you would do in Colombia.
Yeah.
And I had a brain problem.
Like a motor skill problem?
Yeah, I had a motor skill problem. I still deal with it sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sometimes. 'Cause stuff like that doesn't cure. You know what I'm saying? Like, when it comes to a brain thing, you're fucked.
It rewires your brain a little bit, right? And I understand this struggle, having done a lot of drugs in my own life, in my young life. I understand this struggle. And a couple times high on LSD, coke, whatever else I put in my body, I just started to, like, my motor skills started to shut down. And it was the scariest fucking thing in the world.
The worst.
When you can think, you can't move your hand when you're thinking about it. Like, move your hand. You can't do it.
It's the worst thing in the world. I'm telling you, it's the scariest thing in the world.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Because you feel like it's like you're going to be in a coma. It's like being in a coma, but alive, I mean, I don't know. I just said that doesn't. It's like being in a coma, but not in a bed.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, it's a disconnection from your body. It's a disassociation that is really fucking weird and very scary. And obviously, there are lots of people who have worse problems than that. But it's still scary when you've never experienced it before and starts creeping up on you in these different weird ways when you're really fucked up and you can't think straight and you're having a hard time putting it all together. When you were traveling with the perks, did you like get nervous? Like, was it nerves, or just back then it didn't?
It's always nervous. Yeah. It's always nervous. I mean, going through the airport, like I remember I used to buy like Bayer's aspirin bottles.
Oh, Bayer's aspirin. Yeah.
Yeah, Bayer's aspirin bottles, and I would put them in there. And because they look alike, like the 602 endo perks that I used to take, they look like aspirins. So I would put them there and just pass it like nothing, and I didn't have a problem.
What was, when you get to Colombia, what is the moment where you're like, First of all, it's got to be amazing to be in Puerto Rico and feel this level of, I don't know, embarrassment and shame about all this shit you're going through and people seeing you on the corner and, just kind of tweaking out with the street kids. And then all of a sudden you get to Colombia and you're like you say, a phoenix, right? You're like, holy shit, there's this whole audience. These people appreciate and love and understand my music. And they're holding it like I imagine they're holding it up like the Holy Grail. I mean, it's amazing that 50,000 people are screaming your name. How much did you get paid for that show?
For like $2,500.
$2,500, 50,000 people screaming your name. That must have been like some switch must have flipped in your head. Like this, I got it. There's these people. There's something there. I got to follow.
So the thing is, to make the long story short, in this time that I'm in Colombia, I'm not only like to, I stayed in Colombia. I moved to Colombia, and I took a whole year to lose weight, and I think in a whole year I lost like, I don't know, probably like 70 pounds, something like that. I got skinny, and people were looking at me different, and they were like loving me more, and everybody was like, even the approach of the promoters and singers that would come from Puerto Rico to do shows would look at me different. Like that changed almost 60% of my situation in
That's discipline.
Yeah.
I mean,
in Colombia and in my career. And I went to I did a song called Piensa en mí, right? I did a song called Piensa en mí, and for some reason I moved to this house in the countryside of Medellin. I was alone. Like it was a farm. It was like a farmhouse. It was a very beautiful farmhouse. It was cheap, very cheap to live there. I remember it was like probably like $500 a month. And I just moved there alone.
Yeah.
I wanted to distance myself from the people because of the situations that I had with the motor
skills. Yeah.
Motor skills and all that. And I felt like I was getting anxiety, panic attacks with the people. So I just hid myself there. And I lived there almost like for 7 months. I think it was like, 7-8 months. And the song was a hit. And I didn't know because I was just hiding in that.
That's insane.
on the farm.
I was hiding in that farm. So one of my manager, who's my manager today, comes to me and is like, bro, you're fucking popping right now. I'm like, what the fuck you talking about? I was like, bro, you killing the game, bro. You have the biggest song right now on the radio.
Unbelievable.
And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, yo, that song Piensa en mí, remember? I'm like, yo, bro, I dropped that shit almost a year ago. I was like, nah, man, check on YouTube. So I look at YouTube and I saw all the views that had like millions of views already. And I'm like, yo. So they called me in a show, a radio station show where there was like more than 60,000 people because those radio shows are like festivals, like huge. And I go up there and I start performing. And when I finished performing, everybody was asking me for that song, Piensa en mí. And I'm like, bro, like, I look at the DJ, like, do you have the beat? He's like, I don't have the beat, but I have the song and you can just sing over it. I'm like, fuck it, go ahead. When the beat comes out and I start singing the song, the whole crowd went crazy.
Oh, wow.
They started singing the song, and that was like the first time like I felt that I did a hit after so many years. So I started crying, obviously, on stage. I couldn't even sing. I had like,
tears, like a throat thing when you cry.
I was choking. Yeah, it was a beautiful and weird feeling. And so to make the long story short, after that, my mentality was this country has more than 60 million people living here. If I can make more than 4 or 5 number one hits in this country, I can make so much views on YouTube where I could bounce all around the world and do a comeback.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
Yeah.
I did 5 number one songs in Colombia and made millions of views. And from there, I jumped to the world, and here I am today.
What an incredible story.
I mean, Nicky, you
so
really do have
inspiring.
an incredible story. I have one more question, then I want to talk about the new album.
Yeah.
And I might argue with you for a second. So I might argue with you on behalf of my family.
It's okay.
So one more question. So when you're at this level of fame and success, obviously there's good and there's bad, right? There's things that come with it that are fantastic, and there's things that come with it that are irritating and sometimes scary. Do you enjoy the fame, or is the fame just part of you expressing yourself and getting the message out there like probably you were born to do?
I mean, it's like everything. At the beginning, when this fame pops up, you start enjoying it. It comes to a moment where it catches up with you, because the reality is, there's nothing better than having, privacy and, intimacy for yourself. And when you become the fame that I had accomplished, it comes to a moment where that goes away, you know what I'm saying? And then you feel like I don't know how you say it in English, when you feel like when you feel like people are like...
Yeah, they're invading your privacy.
You.
They're like,
I feel like they were invading me too much, and it became to a moment where, it messed me up. But do I enjoy being famous? Of course. I mean, I'm famous, I go out and I don't have to make a line in a restaurant. Or people give me love everywhere I go, and it's good, but it has its bags too,
Sure.
So it's like how do you feel having money? It's like, well, it's a good thing, but it's a bad thing too, because everybody looks at you like a money symbol.
It's a cash register. Yeah.
Hey. So everybody wants money. Everybody wants a loan. Mm-hmm. Cousins that you never had.
Right.
And tell me if I'm wrong on this. Tell me if I'm off base on this. But I imagine you're the type of person, because of the human being that you are and the way that you've grown up and the struggles that you've had and the empathy and self-awareness, you probably are one that says yes a lot, right? That probably says
I
yes.
don't say no.
Yeah.
That's my problem.
Mine
I don't
too.
say no. And I can be honest with you. If I've lost, I can't say I lost money. If I how do you say that? If I spend it, okay, I could say 50% of the money that I spend it is helping people.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a good
And I'm talking about millions of dollars.
Yeah. Wow.
Millions of dollars that I've spent it helping people. And I have, I'm the type of guy that if I have 20 friends, we all got motorcycles and we all go out on motorcycles.
Yeah.
I'm not going to leave none of my friends with motorcycles.
Yes.
I'm the type of guy that I would read DMs where people from Venezuela will tell me, Nicky, I don't have a fridge, and I will send money to that person to get a fridge. I need a ticket because my man's whooping my ass here in Texas, and I live in Colombia. Please help me. I will send a ticket or send money to help him. I will stop living for me to live for the people because I didn't have anything, and I'm the type of guy that I see a movie and I see people struggling in the movie, and I cry, and I'm like, I wish I could help that person. I have the money now. I wish I could be in a situation where I can help people. I just love helping people. That's just the human being I am.
Me too. Mm-hmm. I think that speaks volumes about the person that you are. And
it's like when I saw the movie John Q. I'm sorry. It's like when I saw the John Q movie with Denzel Washington when he needed money to operate. I was like, fuck, I had the money. I could help him. You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't have to sell his truck. I would have gave him money.
Yes.
That's the way I think.
Yeah,
Me too. That's crazy. Okay, let's get to the new album. Tell me about the writing. I want to argue with you for a second because you're saying that this might be you might be, I mean, I think you've said this, you might be retiring. It might be your final script. Is there an impetus for that? Or you just feel like, hey, man, I've had a long career.
Bro, you want me to be 100% honest with you?
Please.
I went through a moment where I was my past catching up with me, and I had like a bad alcohol moment in this last year. Very
honest.
Yeah, and I it made me. It took me to a dark spot.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And, the problem with alcohol is it's so legal that you don't even think that you're doing drugs. You know what I'm saying? Or you're doing
so true.
Yep.
So, and it's everywhere you go. Like you have a meeting, they're drinking wine. You go to a restaurant, they're drinking. You go to anywhere, people are drinking. It's like, it's normal for people, right?
That's the problem with alcohol. And I think it's one of the worst drugs that I've ever done is alcohol. Because you get all the giggles and shits, but then it can really take you, like you said, to a very dark place.
So it took me to a dark place, so dark of a place that I even thought about retiring. And I got depressed, and I did this last album called, I don't know how to say it in English, it's called INSOMNIO.
Mm-hmm. INSOMNIO, yeah.
It's the same shit, but with the A?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we got it. So the reason why this album is called Insomnia is because all of the songs talk about stuff that I went through this whole year. You know, if you listen to it, you will listen to everything that happened to me. Like there's so many songs that will talk about my situation in this year with the alcohol, with my relationships, with my darkness and all that. And that's why I announced that I was retiring. But I'm not really retiring. I'm gonna be honest with you. I ain't retiring for shit.
Good. Glad to hear that.
You're going to make a lot of my family members happy.
Yeah, so no, I'm not retiring. That was just me. And if you see the post that I put a post on, I edited that video myself, like my retirement and all that.
Yeah.
And I erased that post.
Yeah.
Because I realized once I got better and mentally I got better.
Yeah.
I cleared up, and I was like, "What the fuck am I doing? What is this? I'm retired. I'm still young.
Yeah.
I'm 43, but I look like I'm 30.
You do.
Why am I retiring?
No reason. Yeah.
So, but it was me depressed, and that's what alcohol does. And now I'm smoking weed.
There you go.
Hey, listen.
Deal with the anxiety.
Yeah, hey, listen. I think of any of the drugs, the weed is the friendliest
I do too.
on your persona.
Yeah.
Right?
Hey, I'm being honest. I've always been honest with people,
No one can fault you for that.
There's been a lot of drama because of the weed thing, because they see me do weed, and they think that they like, oh my God, you went back to drugs. I'm like, bro, I never had a problem with weed.
It's just a little weed.
Yeah.
I'm smoking some weed. Yeah.
No. My problems were with perks. You saw the series.
Yeah.
It was perks. I never said I had a problem with weed. Weed is not my problem. I can smoke weed until I die. I'm good. But Marley did. Snoop's still smoking weed, and nobody tells him shit.
No, he tried to quit for a while, and then he said, "Fuck it! Like I just like it, right?"
It's part of your life.
Yeah, now
100%. 100%. So to be honest with you, the weed helped me a lot with the alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It made me control my anxiety and all that. Why did I got to the situations? Oh, we all do. We're human beings. You know what I'm saying? And if you saw my past, look, I tell people this. When people go to the war, they go to Iraq, right?
Yep.
They come back with PTSD, right? Okay. So I was in the hood and I saw friends get blown their head off, shot, a whole bunch of stuff. My best friend died in my face, and I saw him die his last minutes. My uncle died of AIDS in my face, and I saw the worst things in the world. And a whole bunch of people that they killed in my hood, because I'm from the hood.
Yeah.
If you see where I'm from, in Puerto Rico, and the people that got shot and the situation that I live, you would say, oh, but this guy's okay. He should have been worse.
Yeah.
So the reality is, people don't think about PTSD when it comes to human beings that was born in the hood.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They think, because he didn't go to Iraq, so he don't need that shit. He has no problem. No, you wrong. If you from the hood and you see people getting their face blown and stuff like that, and your best friends and getting shot, and people getting shot in their cars and their heads, and stuff, all that could fuck up your head.
Of course.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I got strong-minded in a lot of situations, but it catches up with you. And sometimes you make money and you become, you start getting in relationships and stuff like that where you don't even understand if people are with you because of the money or with you because they really love you. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's got to be a mind fuck.
That's got to be one of the top
It's got to be a mind
things.
fuck.
Yeah.
And I also have to say that I think sometimes when people assume, you came from the hood, he's fine now, he's got money and he's got clout. Well, that it doesn't work like that.
No. It's not
I struggle every day. I struggle every single day. I'm telling you, I smoke weed now because of anxiety.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I was going through alcohol a lot until the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I ain't lying. I'm being 100% with you. So this album is called, the reason why I said I was retired was because I was on this alcohol, darkness, crazy trip.
Yep.
I am not retiring. So
Good.
that's one statement. And then this is the first place I'm saying this.
I love it. Thank you.
Number one. Number two, the reason why my album is called Insomnia is because it represents all these dark moments in me, but still the music is amazing, like amazing. Because the reality of everything is, you could be sometimes being in the worst situations comes the best music.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes being in the best situation comes the best music. I understand people happy make good music. That was my situation in all these global hits that I made. I was in a happy place. These songs that I'm making, I was not in a happy place, but I was in a creative mode, you know?
Yeah.
I was being real to the people, and I'm just talking to the people through my music. So that's what music is for.
Exactly.
You know? That's what music is for. It doesn't all has to be I love you, you love me. You got to make music. You got to make music to like talk about yourself, and like it feels good. So that's why the album is called Insomnia, and I think it's one of the best albums that I've done, because I sat down with this album with so much passion, because it made me. It was, you could say,
it opened you up.
Yeah,
it opened you up. Yeah.
So it's Nicky Jam 100%. It's not like a whole bunch of producers in the room, doing music for you. No, it's just me telling my stories, and all these songs are really badass, and the melodies are crazy. And even when I was drunk, I would go in the studio and drop some crazy ass melodies. Because I'm not gonna lie, when you doing shit and you're drunk or you're high, you be creative.
Yeah.
Listen, you take the drugs and alcohol out of music, at like all catalogs of music, all famous artists, you are going to find a really boring set of music.
It'll be only like 20%.
Yeah, it would be 10% maybe.
Probably.
All right, Nicky, I know you have a tight timeline today. You got a lot of stuff to do.
What a great interview. Thank you so much.
I would do 2 hours with
I know,
you. I just
we can
think
talk forever.
You're such a fascinating human being. And
congratulations.
The honesty is what makes you so relatable, so damn relatable. You're self-aware.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful. You were the soundtrack to my La Hora Loca at my wedding. And you brought a bunch of gringos and Venezuelans together on the dance floor.
That's badass.
I love you. My family loves you, man.
I love you too.
Mad respect. You can come back anytime. Everyone get the new album. And he's not retiring. Breaking news here on the
Hell fucking no, never.
I'm turning that Instagram reel around tomorrow, buddy.
God bless.
Thank you very much, Nicky. We appreciate it. Talk to you soon.